Hello, hello. Welcome to Tony Talks. This is your host, Tony Lindsay, Tony L, Tone, however y'all know me. What's going on? How's everybody doing tonight? I just wanted to come on here real quick because I wanted to talk about Intro 948A. Now, you guys know that I've been working very hard on this issue, and I've been doing a lot of advocacy here locally in New York City. And I said, let me just take this time to just break down exactly what's going on here, because I don't think people realize the the importance of what's getting ready to happen here in New York City on Thursday morning. The city council is getting ready to hear. They're actually going to pull up like a truckload of bills to vote on before the new city council member comes in. Hold on. Oh, if I have any moderators, by the way, on TikTok, just get rid of the trolls. Like the J Soto. Yeah, let me get rid of this person. Yeah, so my social media is always getting hit up by like a whole bunch of trolls. That's another thing. When it comes to this type of stuff, we got to be careful. So I'm looking right now at my Facebook. As you guys know, I'm like super censored on Meta platforms. So I'm live streaming right now to Instagram and Facebook. And right now on Facebook, where I have something like, I don't know, maybe like 9,000 followers, I have 0 public viewers right now. There are 0 viewers on Facebook. And let me see what I have over on Instagram. And on Instagram, I have 0 viewers. Yo, censorship is real, y'all. So yeah, but anyway, let me get to talking about it, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna record this anyway, and I'm just gonna play back the different clips. I'm just gonna take the clips and I'm gonna put them up. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about was Intro 948A. As you all know, Thursday's coming up for a vote. And the interesting thing is, I've been writing op-eds. I've been, doing like as many like public like speaking engagements as I could be. I've been reaching out to city council members throughout the city and virtually getting no reply, right? Or I've just been pretty much like silenced or ignored. And what's crazy is I'm the person who wrote the bill. And I don't say that like to get myself a pat on the back or anything like that, but it's really, that's really something I think that is extremely significant. If you author a bill that is going up for a vote in the city council, and the majority of the city council members are not even willing to talk to you about it, but yet they will speak to, or they even have an open door to all of the people who oppose the legislation. I think that says a lot. And I want to just kind of give you guys a breakdown, right, of how housing policy goes here in New York City. And also let me put the title of this up here so you guys can see this. So you see the title of this is called The Scam of Equity in New York City Housing Policy. Now, most of the things that they try to present to us is always through the lens of, diversity and equity, justice, all of this type of framework. And unfortunately, that's the language that they use usually when they're trying to throw you under the bus, when they're trying to get you to support certain legislation that is usually not in your best interest, but it's very easy to get you to fall in line or support it based on the emotional triggering that they use to obfuscate the issue or just kind of deflect from what these things really do. And I think housing is one of the biggest scams that they take advantage of when they're trying to manipulate people. Now, usually when they talk about, I'm going to give you an example, like of the framework of housing justice. Now, local law 18, that's the current law in New York City, that was basically touted as something to preserve the limited housing stock, the shrinking housing supply in New York City, specifically the long-term rental supply. So it was drafted by the hotel industry and then sponsored by city council members who, put it forth for a bill, and they all voted on it. Now, the language that they used when they pushed local law 18 was equity, justice, protecting Black people from gentrification, all of those sorts of things. But then when you dig into the details of not only the language of the bill itself, but if you look at the actual metrics that they used to justify the bill, you will see that it was fraudulent from the very beginning. And all they did was just hurl a whole bunch of trigger words at people to tell you, hey, we're helping marginalized communities over here. Let's get this thing through. And that's the scam of housing policy. Now, ever since local law 18 went through, what have we seen? We've seen the housing supply decrease. We've seen the cost of rents increase. We've seen the hotel industry, who pushed this legislation, their profits have skyrocketed. Their profits have increased by double digits. So the only people who have benefited from local law 18 have been the hotels and wealthy like condo owners or owners of wealthy, like large apartment buildings. But the people who are being currently targeted under local law 18 are the most vulnerable homeowners in the city, who are 1 and 2 family homeowners who they reside in their homes. And under New York state law, 1 and 2 family homes are what are classified as private dwellings. That means that's your private residence. So already, when they're subjecting 1 and 2 family homes to this level of enforcement that has been catered or tailored for commercial actors, they've already started to subject these people to disproportionate enforcement and unequal protections, frankly, under the law. So the reason why I'm going so hard on this, and here's one of the messed up parts about this whole thing. Throughout all of the conversation that we've been having around this, and the countless op-eds I've written on this, debunking all of the HTC sponsors' lies, everything has gotten shrunk down deliberately to this narrative that paints Intro 948, well, it's Intro 948B now. It paints it as an Airbnb bill. And I think that has been the most clever tactic that has been used by these so-called tenant advocacy groups that are basically funded by the hotel lobby to trigger people emotionally into believing that Intro 948A or Intro 948 somehow threatens people's ability to be able to obtain an apartment or have an affordable cost of living in New York City, when in fact it has absolutely nothing to do with it. And so I'm going to just break down some of this for you guys, because the lies are so immense. And even though I'm shadow banned on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, a lot of that is due to COVID, because I was telling a lot of truth around that time. And even though every single thing that I said turned out to be true, I'm still censored. But anyway, what I'm doing is I'm going to just basically pour this stuff out so I can clip it. And I'm just going to keep putting the information out there for whoever's ready to take it. All right. So one thing I wanted to point out. Oh, and by the way, for anybody who's watching this on Facebook, if you're watching me on Facebook, I suggest you just go to Rumble or YouTube or X or TikTok. No, not TikTok. Just go to either Rumble or X or YouTube. That way you'll be able to see everything that I'm playing in the stream. Because for some reason with my Facebook, it's not letting me stream out to Facebook. It just has me permanently blocked over there. And on TikTok, you're not going to be able to see the stuff that I'm actually sharing on the screen. All right. So just run over to Rumble, Tony L Talks. On YouTube, Tony L Talks. On X, Tony L Talks. All right. You'll find me over there. All right. So I want to show you like some of the propaganda that's been put out. And the thing that's crazy, anybody who saw me testifying at the city council hearing on the 20th, on November 20th, you already know like this was some crazy propaganda. You already know that there were people who were paid to just like troll. They were like human versions of bots. Like while we were out there speaking, truth and logic about the bill, they had people behind me doing like thumbs up and all this weird trolling, I guess, to signal to the city council, no, no, bad, bad, bad. But the craziest thing is they used they use people of color to do this. They use black people, they used Hispanic people. I saw them use an Asian lady. They used all of these people who represent these so-called marginalized groups to go out there and fight against the bill that I drafted that was actually crafted to protect their rights. And this is the crazy thing about it. When you can get people to go out there under the guise of fear or virtue and have them actively protest against a bill that would help them and their families. And I'm going to give you an example. Intro 948A is not an Airbnb bill. Short-term rentals existed before Airbnb existed. It existed before hotels existed. This is something that people have been sharing their homes with lodgers and boarders since the 18th century. None of this is new. And all of this has existed before, like I said, Airbnb and a lot of these laws. Now, the funny thing is, under New York state law, it is not illegal to share your home doing short-term rentals for private dwellings. Why? Because these are our private residences. But what most people won't realize or understand is that the way that our local government, what they did was they tried to slip in these policies that circumvent state law and now is in violation of state law on the local level. But you can't do that. And so Intro 948A, it intentionally and it precisely targets the language that has been used to violate state law and federal law. Now, because I truly believe because Intro 948A has been drafted so succinctly, so effectively, the hotel unions, because this is the hotel industry that's opposing it. Why? Obviously, because they're at war and it's competition between them and Airbnb. But we don't care about that. That's none of our business. This is about our rights and our autonomy as homeowners. But clearly, the hotel industry, because they really don't have a valid argument against Intro 948A, what they decided to do was to use their proxies, these so-called nonprofit organizations like Tenants Not Tourists and the Coalition Against Illegal Hotels, these nonprofit groups. They've been funding them to go out there as the special interest groups they are and regurgitate hotel industry sponsored talking points to lie to the public. There's no valid argument against Intro 948A. And if you went to, hold on one second. Jordan, stop yelling. That's my son. And if you watched any of the live stream of the Housing and Buildings Committee hearing where we testified, now this was hours. There was hours and hours of lies and propaganda that was allowed to be spewed about Intro 948A. And there was no truth. It was all like fear mongering, and it was all like made up stuff. And so the people who were there to testify in favor of Intro 948A, I was actually surprised to see, the chamber, I think it was the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. It was a couple of Chamber of Commerce. They came out to speak in favor of Intro 948A. There were a lot of organizations, obviously a lot of small homeowners who came out to give their testimony, but everyone was informed on the bill who was pro Intro 948. But everyone who was against, they clearly had not read it, including one of the loudest mouthpieces for the HTC, the hotel lobby, Kirsten Foy. The man has been putting out all of these weird chat GPT, like non-factual op-eds, just stringing together words that are not based in any facts as it pertains to Intro 948A, which leads me to believe that either he's deliberately lying about the legislation or he simply hasn't read it, or his handlers at the HTC, they haven't read it or don't understand it. And so they've been using this trivialization to confuse the public about Intro 948A. I keep calling it A, even though it's now B, because we cleaned up the language a little bit in order to lessen the effectiveness of their propaganda campaign, because they've been using all these false talking points. So what we did was we condensed the language and we clarified it to make it much harder for them to trivialize the bill. Now it's very simple, very plain English. So I want to show you guys some of the lies and the propaganda that they've been spreading about the bill. And the most insulting part for me, as I said at the hearing, is that you use Black people as the symbols of why you're fighting against this bill, while you're simultaneously advocating against a bill that would help them, and also while sponsoring racist ads against Black people. And I'm going to show you that as well. So let me just start with one of the ads that they put out here. Bro, you believe in the system too much. Who said I believe in the system? I don't know what the hell that means. I believe in the system. I'm out here fighting against the system. Why would I believe in the system? I'm actively fighting the system. I got the whole system fighting against me. Bro, I don't know what that comment meant, but you don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, let me show you one of the ads that they put out, one of the propaganda ads that they put out. And this is why I always stress the importance of the people getting involved, right? You can't just sit back and let all of these people make these decisions on your behalf just because they're friendly or you like them or they say a couple of things that trigger you. Hold on. Jordan, stop yelling. Anyway, yeah, sorry. That's my son making too much damn noise. So let me start with this. Now, this is an ad that was, let's see, who put this one out? It doesn't matter. It's all HTC sponsored nonsense. Okay, this is the Hotel Trades Council. I want you to see this ad that they put out. All right, here we go. Listen up.
Make a better life for myself and my family.
I came to the U.S. because there was a war going on in my country.
To make a better life for myself and my family.
This is a city that welcomes immigrants.
I was born and raised in New York. I'm a room attendant in a New York City hotel.
I've been a room attendant for 18 years.
I have been working in union hotels for over 35 years.
For the past 27 years.
Cleaning these rooms allow me to support my family. I'm able to pay my rent, provide for my kids.
My son is studying to be a doctor at NYU for a lady that's cleaning rooms. It made me so proud to pursue his dreams.
I have autoimmune problems with the union. I know that I have this health benefits for the rest of my life.
Because of this job, I'm able to support my family here and overseas.
Now Airbnb is trying to buy influence.
Spending more on elections than anybody else.
For what? To roll back rules that would hurt thousands of hotel workers.
Okay, first of all, let me pause that right there. This shit Intro 948 has absolutely nothing to do with hotel workers. It doesn't impact hotel workers. That's complete bullshit. And not even to defend Airbnb, because Airbnb, to be honest, they were pushing against my bill too. They weren't supporting us either. But in their defense, no one has spent more money on this shit than the HTC, than the hotel industry, that has spent millions upon millions of dollars on this propaganda campaign, bro. Like, it's crazy that you have special interests telling you, hey, they're special interests, when they're the special interests, using Black and Hispanic and people talking about their autoimmune diseases and they're immigrants and they want to help their families, to fight against a bill that is protecting them, especially if they own their own homes. But let's listen.
Workers will rely on jobs like mine.
If I lost my job, I could lose my apartment. I couldn't support my kids.
If I lose my job, my son could lose his chance to the college education.
I cannot afford to lose my health benefit at this point. I cannot.
My family and the people that I support back home, we all depend on this job.
I'm only one of 40,000 hotel workers that will be hurt.
Let's be honest about who wins with Intro 948.
Airbnb makes billions.
Hosts get scraps.
Union hotel workers lose their livelihoods.
And working families.
Okay. Wait. You see how they said Airbnb makes billions? First of all, I don't care what Airbnb makes, but let's just go down to the numbers. At the height of short-term rentals in New York City, do you know how much Airbnb made in a single year? Their entire revenue, because remember, we're talking about New York City here. What was the entire purse that was made by Airbnb hosts or Airbnb in, I think it was 2022, before everything went into implementation? 85 million. 85 million. And that's amongst about 41,000 hosts. It made 85 million. Do you want to know how much the hotel industry made in New York? More than 10 billion, with nearly 2 billion in profit. So the entire revenue of Airbnb did not even amount to 0.8. I'm talking about less than 1% of the revenue of the hotel industry, and not even 5%. I'm talking about the whole revenue of Airbnb hosts didn't even total 5% of the profits that were made by the hotel industry in New York City. But they just use that to say Airbnb is making billions of dollars. They're making billions, bro. And then another thing, they're telling you that somehow they're going to lose their jobs. And I think that's actually the most wicked and nefarious thing about this entire thing, because clearly these people, they haven't read the bill. And if you were there, you would have seen that they were given these like pre-prepared scripts to read. So they would put like the person out that had the worst grasp of the English language. They would put those people out there to read these scripted, rehearsed narratives. And it was so pathetic. You know what I'm saying? You could see that these people didn't even know what they were reading. They don't know what they're talking about. And none of them read the bill. All they were told by their union bosses or their bosses was, hey, that bill is going to make you all lose your jobs. That bill threatens your jobs. You're all going to lose your jobs and get fired if Intro 948A passes. So what are they going to do? You're going to get all of these people to come out there in droves to, no, we don't want Intro 948. We don't want Intro 948. Meanwhile, not a damn one of them even know what the hell Intro 948 is. Because if they did, they would know that this has nothing to do. It doesn't impact hotel union jobs whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the hotel union, the hotel industry, since the passage of Local Law 18, they have seen double-digit profits their profits have surged beyond belief. The average cost of a hotel room right now in Manhattan is like $500. That's actually like the median. Like, you got hotel rooms that are costing you like $1,100 a night. You see, here's the thing that people don't want to tell you. Short-term rentals, especially as you see in the outer boroughs in like Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, Manhattan, not Manhattan, those outer borough short-term rentals, the cost, first of all, that doesn't appeal. That's not something that you're going to find the average person who can go and spend $500-600 a night in a hotel. Airbnb, and I hate to use the language of Airbnb because this is not an Airbnb bill. I hate that. But short-term rentals, especially in our private homes, that caters to a different type of traveler. It's a budget traveler. It's typically people who are like families, people who cannot afford to stay in these expensive hotels. So they're looking for something that is budget friendly so they can still come to New York City and have some type of pocket money in their pockets. So these people, most of them, the majority of them, would never be staying in a hotel anyway. And that's the trivialization. But you even had one person who was there at the hearing who basically said the quiet part out loud. We want to protect the hotel profits so I don't lose my job. Wait, what? So they're basically putting it out there that, oh, this is just a war for profits, to preserve profits between the hotel industry and Airbnb. But in the midst of this giant corporate war, the little guy, the people like myself, like all of the small homeowners who are doing home sharing to survive, they get the rug pulled out from under them, where many of these people are on fixed incomes. They're older people with their Social Security, their pensions. These are people who are on limited income, people who are just struggling to survive. New York City is so expensive right now. Local Law 18 pulled the rug out from under those people, and we have seen since then the rate of foreclosures increase, and disproportionately in primarily Black neighborhoods. Now, the justification that was used by people like Tom Kaler and what's the guy's name? Murray Cox. These are like the original drafters of Local Law 18. They touted this as something to save Black people from gentrification. And you want to know what the basis he used for their metric to determine that Black people were somehow being pushed out due to short-term rentals, which was false, because Black homeowners were benefiting from short-term rentals. This was his justification. We saw that white people were disproportionately benefiting from short-term rentals in predominantly Black neighborhoods. Wait, so you're saying that because white people were using short-term rentals more, that you needed to end short-term rentals, including for the Black homeowners who were also using short-term rentals to supplement their incomes. So to protect marginalized people, you've marginalized the marginalized. So do you see the logic? And then here's the justification. Here's the data that he used. The man created an algorithm that was modeled off of the brown paper bag test. And I'm sure you guys have heard of the brown paper bag test. If you haven't, just look it up for the historical context. The brown paper bag test was a metric that was used in order to justify redlining and discrimination back in the mid 20th century. Yeah, that brown paper bag test. This guy went through random profile pics and decided based on his color, his shade of color algorithm. This white man did this, this white liberal wanted to determine who is Black enough. He subjectively determined who qualified as Black or who qualified as non-white or white. So what about biracial people? What about mixed race people? What about Hispanics? What about Native Americans? What about Indians? What, like, excuse me? So he used this based on a binary of black and white. And this dude, I said 20th, I'm sorry, 21st century. Sorry. So he used that as his justification to write a law to end the practice of short-term rentals that black people were benefiting from. Yeah, that's racist. So that's just one of the propaganda ads that they have. I want you guys to see another one. Now, this one is from oh no, this is an HTC one. Listen up.
It will become so much more expensive. Passing Intro 948 would devastate hotel workers like me. I'm a hotel attendant in a New York City hotel, working here 11 years. I was part of the opening team. Since the union have been there, we were able to get job security. We were also able to get health care through the union, which for me personally is the biggest thing. I have a very rare autoimmune condition, and it affects every muscle in the body.
Another autoimmune condition.
I am a type 1 diabetic. I have to use insulin every day with every meal. If I lost my job, I wouldn't be able to function. This medication that I use every day.
All right, I think you see where they're going with this stuff here. I think we see what they're doing here. Here's another one. This somebody said, do all hotel workers have autoimmune conditions? Apparently. But and the reason why I'm laughing is because this is clearly, you know, this ploy to use black people. Oh, here's another one. This one is from Tenants Not Tourists, a proxy for the hotel lobby. This is one of their lobbyists that they fund. Tenants Not Tourists. So they're supposed to be advocating for tenants. Let's see what they have to say.
It's crushing us. A housing crisis that hurts our families. Now it could get even worse. So many New Yorkers are spending most of their paychecks on rent. With so few available homes, our communities are being hit the hardest. The city is working to solve the problem, but now a new bill could gut housing protections and allow thousands of homes to be turned into tourist rentals, leaving us in the cold.
Did y'all notice how there's not one white person in none of these ads? Can y'all see the play? Can you see the play? Yo, and here's the funny thing, and I want to show you something, because this same organization that's using all these black people to get everyone to feel, oh, we must protect the poor black people with the autoimmune diseases and the immigrants who are trying to survive, and oh my God, and put their kids through college. Let me show you another ad that they recently put up, also sponsored by the hotel unions. Can y'all see that? Let me get this off the screen so you can get a full look at it. They have a black guy, a black Airbnb guest who is checking in with his luggage. Let's see what the ad says. Airbnb says its safety checks may not reveal criminal activity. Do you want them next door? Wait, what? So they put up an ad painting a black Airbnb guest, a black man, as a criminal. And with the question, do you want them next door? This is the marketing that they're using. So they're trying to tell you, oh my God, these poor black people, we want to save them, while simultaneously putting out ads painting black men who are checking in as guests as criminals. See, this is what the vote is going to be about. Everything that we have seen has been nothing but propaganda and smear campaigns, and none of it actually speaks to the text of the bill. Intro 948, it is specifically catered to 1- and 2-family homeowners who are private homeowners. These are private dwellings, private residences under state law. This has nothing to do with renters, has nothing to do with apartments or anything like that. It has nothing to do with rent prices. It has nothing to do with hotel union workers. It has nothing to do with any of it. All it has to do, and oh my God, and here's the crazy thing. I already gave you the numbers, right? I broke down the numbers for you. Now, local law 18 did serve a good purpose because there were people who were doing Airbnb arbitrage. And you know, those are the folks who were renting like they were leasing dozens of apartments across New York City and turning them into, you know, Airbnb units, short-term rentals, into these, I guess, mini hotel operations. Now, those people, you can actually point to those people and say, yes, they were taking away from the long-term rental supply because they were using those apartment units for that purpose, for Airbnbs. That has nothing to do with people who live in their homes and decide to do whatever the hell they want to do in their house. You see, local law 18 and the OSC enforcement that they tether you to, it violates your rights. I mean, even as it pertains to like, you know, illegal search and seizure. Like they don't get to just go into your home and prod everything throughout your home to determine whether you're in compliance or not. First of all, 1 and 2 family homes are not subject to the regulations that multiple dwelling units are. The actual housing stock in New York City. See, what they do is they use this fallacy by saying that people who live in 1 and 2 families, that their homes are part of the city's housing stock. Private dwellings are not a part of New York City's housing stock. Why? Because they are private homes. These are private residences where it's the primary residence of the homeowner. We are not a part of the city's housing stock. So all of these fake metrics that they've been giving you to justify local law 18, this has been actually used as a weapon against small homeowners in New York City that has actually led to the acceleration of displacement out of New York City. So when you see these city council members parroting the HTC nonsense, when you hear Zoran Mamdani regurgitating the same lies that the HTC is spreading, while they're all simultaneously refusing to speak to the people who authored the bill, that should tell you everything that you want to know. And that should tell you that we cannot continue to just idly stand by and just let this shit happen. We have to stop voting these people into office while they treat you with contempt. So what are we going to do? Are we going to hold our city council, our elected officials accountable? Are we just going to just let this be some type of I don't know, some popularity contest, some bougie clique-based local government where it's, you know, the in crowd, where they get to do whatever the hell they want and they treat their constituents like they're beggars, like the serfs? I saw a city council hearing the other day on Instagram where there was a city council member who was so disrespectful to her constituent. She was talking over him. She was threatening him. You better, I'm going to shut your mic off. The man has a right to speak. How dare you? He should have called point of order. But that's the thing. You know, how can we elect people to office, to government, and those same people, once they get in those positions, they look down on you and they don't even listen to you. They don't even make themselves available to you, because I can tell you guys, in the last 2 weeks, I have sent out multiple emails to nearly every single one of the 51 city council members here, and I have not received a single reply. Every one of those communications I sent out, I introduced myself as the author of Intro 948A, and that I wanted to provide them with the appropriate context that was missing from the hearing, where all of the detractors of the bill were given multiple opportunities to speak, lengthy, extended periods of time to parrot a lot of misinformation. But when I was called up, I was given 90 seconds to debunk hours and hours of lies. I submitted written testimony after that to supplement it, along with everyone else. I took that testimony and I emailed it to every single city council member and their staff as well, just so they don't have the excuse to say that they were not informed, that they were not given the correct information. And when I reached out through email, I called, I hit all their social media accounts, I DM'd them, not a single response. I'm not talking about the people who sponsored the bill, because we do have like 9 or 10 sponsors on the bill. I'm talking about the other 40 of them, 40 plus. So it doesn't help when I hear people say, city council members, by the way, say, well, I'm scared. I'm terrified of the hotel unions. I don't want to get on their bad side. Everybody knows New York City is the union town. So we don't have elected officials then. Is that what you're saying? We don't have representation then as constituents, because this is a union town. The unions run shit, correct? Our city council members don't represent us. They represent the donors. But then when you have people like me who are out there trying to actually tell the truth, oh, don't listen to him. Let's spend more money to spread lies. Because from what I see a whole lot of, very well-produced ads and commercials that are naming my bill that I wrote, lying about it. I've seen news segments with people given platforms to talk shit about the bill, say things that are non-existent in the bill. But when I reach out to the same publications to say, hello, I can give you the accurate information, that person was not telling the truth. I authored it. I would like to have the opportunity to explain to the public the truth. No reply. No reply. I don't think people understand the danger that we are facing due to this tiny little obscure little law, this little bill here in New York City. I don't think people understand the larger implications as it pertains to our rights, our constitutional rights within our own homes, because the more we allow local governments, that's where it matters on the local level, by the way. But when you allow your local government to usurp your rights, your federally protected constitutional rights, do you know the precedent that sets? Do you know what that does as it pertains to the rest of this country? Aren't we watching what's happening across the world? Aren't we watching what's happening in Europe and Australia? Are we not seeing the signs on how our rights, how the rights of people across the globe are being taken away, not even undermined? Their rights are just being siphoned away. They can't even retweet something or repost something on social media without getting a visit from the cops banging down their door. Is that where y'all want to be headed? Are we okay with legislation that allows the state to intrude into your private domicile? Do we not understand the importance of the Constitution in this country and why we must defend it at all costs, whether you're on the left or the right? Does it not matter to anyone? Have we become that dumbed down and stupid as a society that we no longer care about logic and facts and reason and freedom? All we care about is what makes us comfortable. And it's not even that. Because under the guise of comfort and virtue and decency, you're throwing your fellow man and yourself under the bus, and you're contributing to your own suffering. But we can't see it. Why? Because we're not willing to do the work to understand policy, to do the research into understanding why things aren't going the way that our politicians keep promising us that they will. Did y'all forget what they did with COVID? With your 500 booster shots? And now it's coming out that most of y'all been scammed? We don't care about that? No? Why? Is it because of the ego? You don't want to be embarrassed? How many times has your government lied to you in order to get your consent? And that consent usually comes wrapped in the further extraction of your individual liberties. But y'all want to what? Y'all want to keep talking to these fake ass social justice leaders. You ever notice that they're not called civil rights leaders anymore? Anybody notice that? Or am I the only one who realizes that? Because when you're a social justice leader, you're not really serious about civil rights. You see, when you were considered a civil rights leader, historically, that came with a certain level of not only status and esteem, but responsibility. Today's social justice warrior is nothing more than a glorified influencer. You're a social media influencer. Is that your king? That's your kings and queens? Are these your leaders? You know, the greatest, I would say that the most intelligent people that I've ever met on social media have been the people with the smallest platforms. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there is an intentional, deliberate effort to silence those who speak the most truth, who speak the most clarity, and who speak the most common sense. And there is a concerted effort to elevate the idiots. That's what keeps us glorifying degeneracy. That's what keeps us begging for bigger government. That's what keeps us in this constant state of dependency and grievance. Because most of y'all don't even understand why you're complaining. And if you did, you'd understand that it's your fault. It's our fault. Why am I going to blame a snake oil salesman, shady ass, corrupt politician if I'm the one that keeps voting them back into office? Where's the accountability, folks? Every time I talk about accountability, oh, how dare you? We don't want to hear nothing about accountability. Yeah, because you're a sheep. You know, somebody spoke to me one time. He said, you know, that you have people you have three categories of people in this world. You have sheep, you have shepherds, and you have wolves. The problem is And someone told me this, Tony, you're too busy trying to turn the sheep into shepherds instead of trying to kill the wolf. Just think about that. Anyway, Thursday morning, I'm going to be there on the steps of City Hall, and I'm going to be there with my big mouth, and I'm going to be calling out the truth. And I welcome anyone, any one of you guys here in New York City. If you want to come out and support, I will be there bright and early, and I'm going to be there all day. I'll be out there probably from like 9 a.m. until, well, I'm going to be there for the initial, I'm going to be there for a rally before that, whatever press conference that they'll probably try to keep me out of. But, you know, I'm going to go there with my big ass mouth, and I'm going to Debo my way to the front, and I'm going to say what I got to say. I'm going to be there for the housing committee vote. I'm going to be there for the city council vote. And my voice is going to be heard, because you're not going to shut me up, bro. Y'all are not going to shut me up. That's the thing. They love to intimidate you. Imagine if all of the silent majority who could see the bullshit, who could see the scam, decided to shake off that passivity and stand up, speak out, confront these people, hold them accountable. I can't be out here fighting by myself, y'all. But I'm still not going to stop. I still won't give up. And I'm still going to call everyone out and hold them accountable and put them in the position where they will have to make their position incontrovertibly clear. Because the next steps that follow this are going to be crucial. Anyway, look, I appreciate you guys for joining me. Thank you once again. You know I love y'all. I'll see you guys the next time. I'll probably go live tomorrow. But yeah. Anyway, love you. Talk to y'all soon. Thanks for joining me. Peace.